What's up, Soul Nation, and welcome to another No Rest for the Wicked video. My name's Brian, if you happen to be new around here, and a lot has happened over the course of the last several days in which that I've been away with my family on a little bit of a mini vacation before the school year starts. Did a little bit of fishing, a lot of playing with the kids, and it was honestly very, very restful. But we're back, and there has been a lot to talk about. Now, the start of this video, we're going to dive into the state of the game. For those of you who are new to the channel, this is where I like to do a deep dive on the numbers themselves and give you guys my thoughts, as well as a little bit of just insider information. And then we're going to do a deep dive through the patch notes, the hotfix that is rolled out this last week. I have really enjoyed this hotfix. It has been a real big relief to see these updates roll in because it actually addressed a lot of the little issues that I've been having. But all in all, we've got a lot to talk about, so let's get into it. First and foremost, let's take a look at the numbers. There's always an interesting reaction when we do these state of the games, when we go through the numbers and seeing people's kind of reaction to them, because ultimately these numbers are a representation that we fill in for hope or trust in a particular project, but it isn't really the be all end all. The numbers behind the scenes, the things that we can't see, generally are attractive to the developer. That is new players jumping in, returning players returning to the game. You should always look at these numbers that I'm showing you now and understand hype isn't a real testament to the quality of community. Hands down, time over time again, you'll always see people try and beat up these games that don't sustain an insane population once the hype has dipped away. And it's clear the hype for No Rest for the Wicked has currently been set on pause. It will come back as the game gets ready to release. We'll talk about that. Also a little bit of a Q&A here in just a second, but you can see here overall, just capturing this information, a 15.39% gain based off of the latest update. I am very curious because outside of just concurrence, that's all this represents. It doesn't represent the total players. I'm not playing right now, for example, but I'm still a player of the game. You can start to try and differentiate. You try to figure out what the MAUs are, the monthly active users of a game in and of itself. But I really like the percentage gained. It's going to go back into the reds and it will go back into the greens. And what you'll end up seeing is kind of an ebb and flow pattern around patches and especially around marketing. But marketing is usually a lot of hype numbers, and then everything kind of settles in and settles down for people to kind of really connect in with the game itself. So I think these numbers actually look incredibly healthy for an early access game, because the biggest complaint that people have is we want more content, right? We want more content, and more content will be coming along the way. Speaking of which, let's dive into some of the questions that I constantly see asked in my comments. First and foremost, will we see another hotfix this week? I'm not gonna hang my hat on that. This latest hotfix, and as we get into the notes later, is incredibly rich. It's incredibly detailed. It's incredibly solving the problems that I've been having. In fact, I've got a full Exalted set of gear right now, which is huge. And if you guys want to check out my latest build, I'll be putting up some guides on that here soon, but you can kind of see here on screen exactly what I'm working with. It's truly quite substantial, and it's been a lot of fun. In fact, I'm actually using this specific build to farm upgrades to other gear to adjust some of my other builds. I'm also working on a mage character, which has been great. And on this trip that I was on, I got to spend an insane amount of time on my Steam Deck, which has really been a good testing grounds, and I haven't run into any issues. So I can say wholeheartedly the patch, the hotfix they introduced this week is incredible. So I would lessen the likelihood that we might see another hotfix this coming week, but you know what? If they put it out there, great. I can't wait to see what they do. And then the next question I see a lot is, are we going to see a patch this month? And we kind of go into that more detail of about the multiplayer update and more in my latest Q&A video. It's a big video. It's 45 minutes long. almost 10,000 views. Thank you guys so much, and thank you guys so much for the 240 likes on that. But to answer it here for you guys, I do actually expect that we're going to see an update this month. I don't know if it's going to be the multiplayer update, but they did talk about how certain things have not made it into the game yet, and they had to get cut just so that they could make sure they delivered on the July 25th update, which is what we've all been playing and what I've been enjoying immensely. So just note that I do think we might see an update this month, but I don't know if it's going to be the multiplayer update. I have put 5 gifted members on the line, so if we do not see another content update, whatever that entails, this month, we'll be sure to gift that out on an upcoming live stream. And then the third most popular question, when is this coming to the PlayStation 5? We do not have a console release date. The devs are focusing in on early access for PC, and as soon as we get that information, guys, I will be hitting you up with that. You will see the videos on when this is going to be coming to console. The good news is that I play on GeForce Now. The game runs great on GeForce Now. If you have access to that as a service, you have access to that in more places than a high-end gaming PC. But that's just all I'm going to say on that. I enjoy that service. I am looking forward to when this comes to consoles, because I think that's going to be a really good boon for the community in the long run. Speaking of community, if you guys enjoy No Rest for the Wicked content, if you like ARPGs, and if you're excited like I am for the upcoming Light No Fire, be sure to hit that subscribe button and let me know if you do, so I can officially welcome you to the channel, just like Bigas, Profane, Axis, and Silenced have done so. Also, Silence says, been watching me for a long time, still shocked that I haven't broken 100,000 subs yet. Thank you guys so much. We're almost to 81,000. It's absolutely unreal, the support that you guys show me here on the content, and I welcome you guys all to the channel. But let's dive into the latest hotfix and the updates, because there is so much to enjoy about this game. First and foremost, the one issue I really had was with farming the Aether seeds. That's the green orbs that would drop from any specific run. Now, I found that it seemed like if you restarted your game, you farmed them much easier, but then over time, there was kind of a diminishing returns. That has apparently been fixed. The other thing that they've addressed that's been really awesome is I've been playing this game a lot on the Steam Deck over the course of this little mini vacation. When the kids went to bed, the Steam Deck came out, and it was truly a fun and wonderful experience playing this game in handheld that is not being played on my Logitech G Cloud. I found that especially that's the only weakness of cloud gaming, is that when you're in an area that does not have internet or decent internet, it becomes obviously a roadblock, and that's where the Steam Deck came in, and it came in strong. And so the latest hotfix did address a lot of crashes that I had seen people report about the Steam Deck. I had no crashes. It ran smooth as all get out, and I have to say it was a wonderful experience. The update in terms of the Aether seeds, getting that content fixed, made it so much easier to farm and exalt my entire setup. Earlier we showed off my little build, my little layout, but note that like everything that I have pretty much is already exalted, and that has made everything that I do in this game so much better. In fact, I'm now just tearing through the Crucible, and it is a fun experience. I can't wait to continue to do that, because this is just a fun piece of content. Speaking of which, we'll be doing that here on the channel. So if you guys like live streams and more, be sure to either follow over on Twitch. Again, top link will get you there, or you can always hit that notification bell so that way you don't miss it, or just be a part of the Discord so you can come hang out. I like running my live streams like little mini gaming podcasts where we talk about all the good stuff, especially the mental health stuff and the stream, because I think that's really, really important. But let's now shift into the patch notes. This is what's all been updated for those of you kind of more or less. I know that this is late and you might have already read the patch notes, but I think this is important for all of us to have this kind of context for posterity's sake, if nothing else. And then we'll wrap up as we usually do with our message of hope. Kuro kicks it off over on the official forums. Early access patch note to Crucible hotfix number 2. Their naming convention is one of the things that does throw us off, so we are keeping track of it while we don't count hot fixes as like patch numbers. The devs, for example, called the first update number 1, which was going to be the multiplayer update. So when it comes down to update numbers and more, they're calling this the Crucible. So they're not going off of any kind of numbering, but we're just going to call the next update patch number 4, and we'll keep that rolling forward and adjust as necessary. Hopefully I'm not causing any confusion there. Anyway, if you guys also want to know, we have not yet seen the updated roadmap. I am going to be keeping a keen eye on any news. As soon as that drops, I'll be sure to share it with you. We're still operating off the old roadmap, which is currently out of date because they focused in on the Crucible. And next, I'm being told, is the multiplayer update, but I don't know if that means this month or sometime here in the fall. Anyway, Kuro starts. We're rolling out a second hotfix to address crashes on older CPUs as well as other fixes. In addition, we've made improvements to the Karam Crucible based off player feedback, such as adding chest to Essentials Chamber. Thank you guys so much for the feedback and support. I can speak to that on being amazing. Like, that has addressed a big portion of the issue. Now, I've seen people say that there are chests randomly in the Crucible. With the number of runs that I have made, I have not seen a single chest drop in any run that I've been doing. But now that they are in at least the halfway point, and they're also, if you beat if you beat the Echo Knight, they're there as well. But they are the halfway point, which does feed you a decent amount of stuff. It's not going to be perfect, it's not going to be amazing, but at least it is there, and I'm really quite pleased with that. For the performance changes, the shader library pruned to save large chunks of memory to speed up the loading. The quality of life has been adjusted with adding in side notifications for completing Essentials projects, adding status icons for when revival echoes are active, moved Plague Doctor's spawn location for a deadly curse bounty to a location that is easier to find. They removed echo effects in safe rooms and in the Crucible. Balance changes, they nerfed Insidious Leech Echo, maximum health reduced by 40% instead of 20%, slightly rebalanced several enchantments. The revival echoes can now be stacked so that they are consumed one at a time. Staggering an enemy no longer breaks their poise. This prevents enemies from getting an interrupted loop or repeatedly getting staggered. Now for the loot, they added chest Essentials Chamber, Litmus, for example, and added in rewards in the Crucible. The enemies and the bosses improved the Echo Knight hit cooldown to prevent accumulation. For area changes, they improved kill volumes in the Crucible to ensure fallen enemies do not get stuck. They improved set dressing in the Crucible. They improved the fog settings in some some chambers of the Crucible. They improved faders across the Crucible. They added in new destruction pots in the overworld, and they moved a climbable vine area in Mariner's Keep so that players can more easily sidle. For the UI changes, the advanced room prompt now hides when other top prompts are visible in the Crucible. And for audio changes, they added in another music track and stinger to the Crucible runs. They added in audio for the Phoenix Rebirth and Searing Strike boons. They added in audio for False Titan Stunt Jump. They added in ambient wind audio, and for the Karam Gate Vista, they improved ambient audio in the Crucible. They improved audio mix for bow elemental enchantments. They improved audio for halberd and curved sword attacks. They polished audio for Essentials intro. They improved Fillmore's idle animation and sound effects in Sacrament. They updated audio for weapon scraps on Geometry. They improved audio for the Blood Offering in the Crucible, and they improved audio mix for Gloam Seed, and they improved audio mix for Swamp Giant. In the visual effects department, they improved effects for Torn Rover projectiles. They adjusted the water shader for better movement. For localization changes, they added in and improved localization for quest logs, enchantments, and echoes, and improved localization of all essential projects. Now, for bug fixes, this is a pretty much substantial patch. That's why it's more of a hot fix than anything else. For the bug fixes, they fixed crash on boot for older CPUs. I've seen many people in the comments kind of highlight that they've been having more issues, and hopefully that addresses it. If it does or does not, let me know in the comments. I really would like to have that information in the back of my mind. They also fixed a crash when interacting with weapons that have enchantments or are being enchanted in certain conditions. They fixed not being able to re-enter the Crucible in certain rare conditions. They fixed some spawners being able to spawn random NPCs and enemies. They fixed duplicate watchers appearing in the Rookery. They fixed certain echoes reactivating after leaving the Crucible. They fixed enemies sometimes posing or T-posing after death. They They fixed heal over time not refreshing correctly when reapplied. Specifically, or speculatively, one of those words, my dyslexia kicks up from time to time, a little flare up right there, fixed not being able to pick up some of the traces in the Crucible. Now, when they say traces in this case, I've noticed that I've gotten way more traces on these runs since this update, but also it seems to have also solved the issue with the green Aether seeds as well, or the Gloom seeds. Aether seeds. This isn't Final Fantasy. Here we go. Anyway, they fixed visual load-ins when traveling to pre-loaded areas, and they fixed Echo Heal value, not updating on the UI for the first time that you open the Echo menu after it is unlocked. They fixed Manic Fury Rush Echo, attack speed not having this duration set. They fixed being locked in place for longer after the Orban Glades Derek boss outro. They fixed Cage Exile and Nameless Pass pulling and disappearing act after the wall he's behind is destroyed. They fixed Lucky Charm and Dual Echo giving unintended echoes. They fixed gold pickup notification display the amount you just need picked up instead of your total amount in counting up. They fixed missing explanation points in the second interaction with Elsa after returning the old tome. They fixed not being able to give Casper the dog all the pets. They fixed 2 enemy spawners in the Black Trench being slightly inside a pipe. They fixed more chests hiding from players in Nameless Pass. They fixed Wart's eavesdrop not working in the prologue. They fixed Rowan's spilled blood starting retalk interaction remaining after the Servant of God is complete. They fixed the false remnant hammer ground slam impacts playing back incorrectly. They fixed chamber complete toast not playing correctly if echo screens is spammed. They fixed flame enchantment effects staying too long on fire arrows. They fixed collision on tent and Nameless Pass, preventing players from going out of bounds. They fixed tier 4 resources appearing as a challenge reward. They fixed Exalted items image blocking mouse focus for inventory items sometimes. They fixed dark visual effects for the ship appearing on coast if you do the prologue. You fixed Crucible water planes reflecting a yellowish tint. You fixed Cursed Resurrection boons status effect icon. They fixed visible steam on the floor in the Crucible. The levitating torches in the Crucible have been fixed. They fixed visible void mesh on the wall in the Crucible. They fixed collisions in the Crucible where players did not die after falling into the void. They fixed mute on focus setting not saving. They fixed the chest in the Black Trench, which was respawning in place, and they fixed extra coin UI appearing at Eleanor's shop menu. Then they fixed the colliders of the cloth clipping and various armor sets. They fixed the third weapon slot not appearing while the chest in the vendor menus. They fixed shields from taking full effect if equipped outside of the stat requirements. They fixed Bleeder's Delight attack speed debuff. They fixed fetid clubs increase stagger damage. They fixed masks on several armor sets. They fixed a bug where players were able to push around Casper. They fixed not being able to go down certain vines in the Crucible. They fixed slight popping during the dying Captain Vigilant at the shadows. They fixed male hairstyles, which was clipped into the back and player's neck. They fixed enemies getting stuck on invisible collisions in orbital glades. They fixed orbs spawning at the last enemy safe location when killed in water rather than at the kill location. They fixed the Plunder Seeker challenge from only counting smaller chests. They fixed hatch and orbit in glades from player clipping through when dodging. They fixed hard to open chests located under the bridge at the start of Nameless Pass. They fixed the improved collision on the climbable wall in the Crucible to prevent looping and climbing animations. They fixed collisions set on trap in the Crucible where Plagued Leader would get stuck, and they also have more general stability issues. So that's been a really good update. I honestly think this is a great hotfix. My hands-on experience with it confirms that to me. I'd love to hear your thoughts if you checked out the latest hotfix, or if you have been waiting to check out the latest Crucible update. I know several of you, again, reported that the game was crashing. You're having more issues. Maybe you're playing on Steam Deck. Let me know, especially if you're having problems, but I'd like to know, especially if you had problems, if this patch has fixed it. Now, as we wind down the video, we always like to end with our message of hope. These are important because you are important when it's all said and done. I think when I look at the overall state of the internet, I have lots of concerns. I have lots of concerns about people's mental health. I see how the internet has an impact on it. I'm trying to mitigate my role in all of that because comparison is the thief of joy. Anybody who is out there struggling to or wants to become a content creator, and feels like it's impossible, or maybe you're not finding the success that you hope that you had, and you see obviously other people winning, it's very easy to let that beat you down. And hopefully that isn't the case with my content, as I always try to go above and beyond and help out new content creators and answer the questions whenever they have them. But that all being said, mental health I think is incredibly important, and as we get this whole year 2024, and I think nothing else is, as we continue to speed up, there's plenty to be concerned about. There's plenty of things out there trying to steal your joy and trying to keep you locked in a doom scrolling loop on the internet. So originally, though, I was planning on wanting to talk about the Mr. Beast developments and provide some commentary there, both as a parent and a content creator. But obviously over the weekend, seeing all the riots, the unrest, the uncertainty, I think it's best that we kind of table YouTube issues and focus on kind of what's most likely in your news feed, perhaps over the next couple of weeks and beyond. And that's what we're going to talk about. Obviously, if you guys haven't seen, lots of market unrest. A lot of people use this as a kind of doom and gloom. You look at the markets down. I like the phrase. I've heard this because I like to listen to Breaking Points. They say the stock market is a graph of the rich people's feelings. And I get that. Now, as somebody who's been saving for retirement, I'm going to keep saving for retirement. One of the best ways to do that, because you will at some point want to retire. You might not feel like that one day. But if you just start building out the discipline of putting money away, basically you think of it as paying yourself. It's gonna pay out in the long run. What a market dip like this means is generally that, hey, there's a discount, you're on sale. And the way you are able to purchase things when they go on sale is that you're not over leveraged. What you tend to see is that these events really do show the weaknesses in the people who've been over leveraged. So for them, if you're over leveraged, like, my heart goes out to you. Let's talk. I'm going to keep encouraging people to pay off their debts. That is one really good way of not being over leveraged, so that when bad things happen, and they will happen, that's a guaranteed, that you're not essentially the person who takes the bath. You're the person who gets to buy up all the cool stuff because it's cheap at that point. Anyway, I want to say this as kind of the key aspect, the takeaway with what is all going on in society. Finding peace in the knowledge that you can only really control how you react to these situations. What that means is that I see a lot of people get bent out of shape, and this is something that is just very true. And I see it more on, what I'm gonna say, like from a political perspective on the left, where they get mad because people don't adhere to their belief system and or their opinion on how things should run. What I've found in my life and my adventures as a human being is that often I have no control over others. And actually, I kind of prefer that nowadays, right? I don't want to control you or your life. I just want to tell you the truth about what is going on and how you can actually take that and run with it. But I see this because I see a lot of people build up these false utopias, or the world would be only great if kind of statements. And then the world reminds us of who it is. It's the world. We don't have control. I'm not in a political position of power. You can always then talk about, like, well, if you want to have that kind of control and that kind of influence, how do you get there, right? And then you just make a plan and you start executing on that plan. I have no intention of running for office, so that's one of the things that makes it more fun to be a content creator, because, if I was ever running for office, words would always come back to plague me. I know that I've had opinions that have evolved and changed over time when I've gotten new information. In fact, I never really knock anybody for having an updated opinion as more information has come into their worldview. The other thing we have going on right now that's really important to know is we really don't know what is true and what is not. We've been gaslit heavily throughout the last decade, if not longer. And who knows, we could have been being gaslit all throughout history. Propaganda is real, and it is definitely is rampant when it comes to social media. So if you can't trust what you see on your device, what do you do? Well, like I said, focus in on what you can control. Can you control your own efforts and basically leave it on the field? Give it your best go, and honestly, let anything that's just dragging that down that you have no control over, set that to the side, because it's only wasted processing. It's only just it's like this. For example, one of the things I always like to say to you guys, especially if you're having bits of depression or fits of depression, I've been there. Make your bed, brush your teeth, take a shower. Now, those three things might seem like, especially if you're not depressed right now, like, oh, those are good tips, Brian. But for those of you who are in that dark spot, whenever you walk into your room and your bed is made, mentally, that's one process that you don't have going on. It actually brings you a sense of peace and a sense of like, oh, I can do this. You know, and so essentially small victories can lead to big victories. In fact, that's one of the things that makes heroes heroes. They aren't just doing the heroic thing when it counts. They do the small heroic things so that when called upon for the big things, they're ready. They're trained. It's muscle memory. It isn't even a question. So take that and apply that and extrapolate that into your day-to-day life. Control what you can, and come up with plans to figure out what it is that you want to do and how you're going to do it. And then obviously take care of the basics. Build out healthy routines to help improve both your mental health, your physical health, and your spiritual well-being. Like, these three things are three pillars that make us human, that we all need. And a lot of times, and I'm guilty of this, everybody is, because we're human, like, you'll easily let one of those pillars go. Maybe you're focusing too much on your physical health and not on your mental, maybe vice versa. Like, there are so many little things that as we age, especially, we need to make very clear decisions, and we can no longer do the things that maybe we used to do when we're 20. I'm not going to stay up all night, guys. Like, it's just not going to happen. Getting enough sleep is really important. Getting too much sleep, though, can also lead to depression. And that's why, again, it's all a function of balance and what you can do. That's why those three tips that I give, and I give continually across these videos, actually really can make a difference in your day-to-day life. Those three things can lead you to bigger things that follow up those three things. And every time you walk into your room and every time you get ready to tackle the world, you know what? You're ready. You're not sitting here subconsciously beating yourself up. You're not wasting processing cycles on things that, you know, again, you should just get done and see how it feels. Anyway, the whole point of that is to tell you guys, if you're struggling, change something up, you know, throw a curveball into the mix, change something up. I don't think that's going to be a big risk for you, and I hope it's not. But at the end of the day, like, if what you're doing isn't working, like, take new information, figure something out, ask for help, always ask for help, because your life is worth living. You are worthy of love and to enjoy at least parts of this life. We're also meant to suffer. We will suffer. Like I said, there's going to be ups and downs. Those are guaranteed. One of the things that makes, you know, the downs, like, you know, like if you want to try to pull value out of them, is that, guess what? It does help you appreciate the good times. It does help you know that it's like, yeah, good times will also be around the corner at some point. It just takes a little time and sometimes a little bit of suffering, but you're not alone. And that's the important thing. We're all in this together, whether we're just hanging out in a YouTube video about video games or who knows, doing other things. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for your time today. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it wasn't too long, but lots to cover. And I'll be back as soon as we get more updated information from the devs. So keep it locked here, or any other news regarding games that I'm interested in. So we do a lot here, and I really appreciate y'all. We got some big guests coming up on the podcast. It's going to be very dramatic because that's just the way we are. We're always willing to talk to people. And I think that's one of the most important aspects that we have here. For Ginger Pride, my name is Brian. Thank you so much to the members. Thank you to those who hit that like button. And if you made it all the way to this video, sound off with your thoughts with a little hooty hoot. I really am interested in it, especially as it relates to markets. And if you have questions, guys, sound off. You can always ask me in Discord or in the comments below. But I'm going to wrap up there and stop rambling. Thank you guys so much for the support. You can always check links in the description if you guys want to support me in other free and interesting ways. My affiliates really always appreciate when those links get clicked. But outside of that, guys, I wish you all the very best. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. But until then, take care.